Evan Siegfried, a Republican strategist and author of GOP GPS. Gentlemen, thanks so much for coming on tonight.
Sure.
Doug, we're gonna start with you. I think I know what you're going to say here, but that tweet that the president sent out a few days ago, would you say that was a mistake?
Well, if I was his lawyer or his political consultant, either one, I would have told him not to do it. But that being said, it seems pretty clear that he is under investigation, and I don't know why they want to litigate that issue rather than the substance, but I leave that to my good friend Jay Sekulow and Mark Kasowitz.
Yeah, absolutely. Evan, I have to think here that if there is not going to be any proof of the collusion, and we haven't seen any yet. If it ends up that there is no proof, that there is no collusion, how do you obstruct against something that you didn't do? You know, it almost seems like it doesn't make any sense.
You can obstruct against finding out if there are Martians on Mars or here walking among us, and if you still obstruct, it's obstruction. Yeah. And that's what the question, it seems to be, that Robert Mueller is asking as special counsel, because the special counsel can follow the evidence wherever it leads. What we're actually seeing here, why the president is going out and doing this and questioning this investigation overall, as well as his attorney, Jay Sekulow and Mark Kasowitz, is because it's all about the base. If they discredit everything or the investigators before anything really big comes out, if something big comes out, it helps protect the president from Republicans walking away. Because if the base is still with the president, then Republicans are less likely to stand up to him and say, yes, maybe we should move towards some sort of disciplinary action if it ever reaches that level, which it's not looking like it will at this point.
Okay. Doug, if there is no collusion here, do you think Democrats will accept the results of this investigation? Will they be able to just say, it sounds like the president, when it comes to obstruction, was just frustrated and was just trying to just get this thing out of the way so he could get his job done?
Rob, I think you're way ahead of us. We've got a long investigation to go. You know, I think the principal actor in this deal is General Flynn. There was a long piece in today's New York Times about his business activities. And I think this is a man who is really at the centerpiece of whatever potential collusion, and I underscore that word, could well have occurred. So before we rush to judgment and say no evidence of collusion, let's hear from General Flynn. Let's assess what, if anything, he did or said to the Russians during the election, and what he said or didn't say to the president about those contacts. I think that's the big issue. We're not close to that yet.
Yeah, Evan, are you surprised that at this point in the investigation, we may have an obstruction case against the president, or we may have an investigation into obstruction, but still no investigation into collusion? Do you think that speaks volumes to what's going on here?
I think the investigation, again, the special counsel goes out and follows the evidence where it leads. While they are trying to hunt down and find out whether or not there was collusion, and I hope if they've proved that there was no collusion, that they make it public so it can satisfy as many people across the country as possible and put this issue to bed. But when you see the president come out and fire James Comey for varying circumstances, depending upon who you're asking, you legally have to follow that and find out what's going on. If the president of the United States, if we actually go out and look at what has come out about General Flynn and his dealings, it's clear he has most likely broken the law in several actions he took and was already under investigation by the FBI for separate matters, his business relations with Turkey, as well as how he illegal lobbying. So that we're fudging the two, or pardon me, we're creating a false equivalency between the Russia investigation as well as the Flynn investigation. Yeah. The president is accused of asking the Flynn investigation to be stopped, and he can't do that.
Yeah, and I still just think that if you take the president at his word and he had no idea about anything going on with Russia, the frustration must be palpable for him. I mean, I can't even imagine. So you just wonder how that's going to play into how this all comes together. Guys, let's bring back our panel and get back into this topic here. Doug, we're going to start with you. Sure. Just the fact that we're talking about this has got to feel like some kind of a victory for the Democrats and a little embarrassing for Republicans, right?
Well, look, then we saw about a 8 or 10 point swing in the Kansas and Montana races to the Democrats, which they, in fact, obviously did lose. But with that kind of swing, Jon Ossoff will win. The polls have him a couple of points ahead. And frankly, voters don't care about out-of-state money. They care about who's got the best message for them, who can make a difference in their lives. And so far, the Democrats look better organized and more enthusiastic than the Republicans.
Yeah. Evan, this is a Republican district. It's been Republican since Carter was in the White House, 1979. How do you explain this? How do you, or if you're the Republicans, how do you try and, calm nerves from what this is built behind?
Well, I think we have to recognize this is not a canary in the coal mine for 2018. This district has very different demographics than other districts throughout the country and the nation as a whole. So it doesn't represent some sort of Democratic wave. That being said, Democrats are absolutely energized nationwide and want to take back the House and the Senate. So what they're going to do, win or lose Tuesday night, is they're going to claim victory because they beat the point spread, because historically the Democratic candidate loses by double-digit figures in this district, and they're going to be able to say, look, because of your efforts, now they're saying this to the base, because of your efforts, you're able to go out and really impact these races, and we can do it in all 435 seats. And Republicans at the same time need this win desperately so that they can tell their base that it's okay, and this win would be some form of Prozac, because the base is quietly becoming more and more worried about whether or not we can retain control in 2018.
Okay, well, we want to get to one more topic here, and that is the Scalise shooting from this week. Everybody right now talking about, just how terrible politics is and what a mess it is and how upsetting it is. Is this going to be the message that they need to tone it down? Doug, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, you heard Tom Price just now. He was using the word crazy as a metaphor for, turnout, for Democrats. We got to stop that. We got to stop it on both sides. This is horrific. It really emboldens and empowers our enemies around the world when we're this divided. And this kind of rhetoric just polarizes our country. We're all Americans. We all have a common purpose. And I really believe, I hope, out of the tragedy of Representative Scalise shooting, we come together with common purpose. We're all Americans, not Democrats or Republicans, first and foremost.
Okay, Evan, last word?
Well, very quickly, I think Democrats and Republicans should follow the Siegfried and Schoen message, which is we get a beer after arguing.
Absolutely.
But I've been seeing a lot of problems on both sides of the aisle, and Democrats are making it seem like Republicans are the only ones who have contributed to the bad rhetoric, and they're claiming that Democrats are holier than thou and virtuous. And when you have Democrats who are going out and saying that the GOP is part of the Taliban, that was a former Democratic representative said in Congress, and that the Republicans want to kill minorities and kill the poor, the Democrats need to tone it down too.
Yeah, well, they hate each other.
Both sides
you
need
can
to
feel they
tone
both
it down,
need to. I
Rob.
agree with that.
Both sides.
And you can tell how much they hate each other, and I think that makes people hate them, and that's why the approval ratings are so low. So, gentlemen, thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you.
Thank you.